Transport Operations Report. And this is up to July this year. So that's correct, Lynette? So this is the the mayoral update today. You'll see that this is the first of the new reporting that we're having from all the different departments.
Yes.
So you have the honour.
Kia ora koutou everyone. I'll do a quick intro, but I know there'll be lots of questions, so I've got Steve and Steve. It's the Lynette and Steve show today. I've got Steve and Steve with me too, because they're the ones that can answer the questions, but this is a new format and layout for us, so we really do and are looking for feedback on what's useful for you, what information you want in it. We acknowledge that there's a lot we could put in it, but we've tried to summarise the information as quickly and concisely as we can to give you as much information as we can in this document. We've also tried to look not just at what we've done, but what's coming. So what's coming up in the next few months and what we're really proud of that we've done recently. So this report does cover actually a 12-month review of Steve Guy's maintenance operations. And it looks particularly at, there's some highlights of some of the safety work that's been done in the last few months. And we've also looked at some of the community initiatives that have been going on. So a couple of highlights just to highlight today. The maintenance team have managed to, we talked earlier in the year about some extra funding that was available from Waka Kotahi. They have managed to deliver that extra funding, and as such we've managed to get over the 5% of our network delivered, which is great. There's been a load of new initiatives that are discussed in the report around different surfacing opportunities and types. But we've also got some stats in there, and one that I was particularly pleased with was the Rapid Response Footpath crew has been out to over 3,000 jobs. The two crews have managed to do a lot of work over the year, and that is starting to build improvements around the network. From a safety perspective, there's a lot in there around the safety programs that have gone on and the ones and the works that are coming. I just do want to highlight on one of them, we've talked about Graham's Wairaki. It should be Greer's Wairaki, the work that's going on. There was a typo there, sorry about that. But the big one, the one for me that I'd like to highlight, who are our quiet achievers in the background, are our community teams working on the Cycle Safe programs and the programs like Crash Bash. The Cycle Safe teams have seen and run Cycle Safe programs with 3,242 students in the last year.
Can you say that number again?
3,242 children.
Woohoo!
And Crash Bash has been out to 27 different schools, mainly high schools. It was focusing on driving. So yeah, it's looking back, actually we've managed to do a lot over the year. I am particularly pleased with and proud of getting through as much surfacing as we have, and proud of the maintenance teams for what they've achieved with the extra money. So
that's great.
I'll hand that back to you, the Chair, for the questions.
I'm really impressed. I like the format of the report. I actually really like the page 170 where we're responsible for more than you might think. And it's a very good outline to see actually what is involved in this whole program that people would not probably normally think of. Are there any questions on the report? Councillor Scandrett and Councillor Coker?
Not so much a question, just want to thank the team for the work done on the Kashmir roundabout. I've had one complaint, but apart from that, everyone else really loves it and sees the improvement in the safety. And I do want to especially thank the team. The shops really suffered through that, and the team got there and tried to minimise that as much as possible, and it was really appreciated. So thank you very much for that. Cool.
Thank you for that.
Kia ora.
It does highlight how important it is staff working with the local councillor just to try and minimise and obviously take the heat off you a wee bit. But yeah, that's well done.
Yeah, councillor and community board. And I think just following on from that, to give them a good heads up about if there are going to be businesses impacted, then we can help, and particularly around appropriate signage and placement of signage as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Councillor Coker?
Thank you. This is great. You asked for some feedback. I was just thinking, because with the resurfacing, you've got how many kilometres of road we have and the percentage we're aiming for, but the same information about how much footpath we have, which I guess is twice as much, maybe, is not there. So it says how many are resurfaced, but not as a proportion. I'm just wondering if that could be included or if that's an aim.
We can look at that.
And then with the leaf fall, I was just interested that a number of the CSRs meet the intervention threshold. So, well, what is that? Because it'd be interesting to know.
Sure. So we send out quite a lot of information before leaf fall season starts as to what does and what doesn't trigger a response. So ultimately it comes down to, are the leaves causing a safety issue, or are they over the top of a curb and obscuring anybody from seeing a curb? If it doesn't meet that criteria, then it doesn't fail. So what we tend to get some instances where you have a small amount of leaf on the road and a customer sending a customer service request, but because it doesn't meet the intervention level, it just gets inspected, and it gets regularly monitored after that point in time. That's ultimately what it comes down to.
So it's a contractual intervention. So there's levels at which they need to intercede in the contract.
Yeah, with the old gutters and how they can get blocked, is that part of it? I guess, is that related to that?
Kind of, but we already have constant sweeping routine that we drive around the city anyway and sweep. We also have high leaf fall streets that get monitored on a daily basis by teams. So as and when they find them themselves, they call the teams up and they intervene straight away.
Thank you. Councillor Donovan.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up and sort of give a bouquet to the teams. I think in particular some of the minor safety improvements around some of the roundabouts have been outstanding. And I want to also acknowledge that the council team have worked so well with community to get a great outcome, and I think that the response through the community board has been extremely positive, and that businesses, residents have all kind of worked on the actual program of work, and the outcome itself has been really positive. So I just want to sort of acknowledge some incredible work there. And just a question, I think the report itself, the format's great. In terms of some of those minor safety improvements, do you sort of go back and then gather feedback afterwards that we can then sort of review? Because I know anecdotally the feedback, say from one of the intersections, the business on the corner have said that they've noticed, this is the Bower and Travis, they were Rockwood, sorry. They've said that they've noticed a lot less crashes and just noises in general from people braking and that. So that's been really positive for them. They feel like their business and safety in general has been improved. But do you get that feedback?
We do, yeah. And I think we proactively try to do post-implementation monitoring as well. So we'll come back a year later, look at the crash stats, look at the speeds, and actually see if what we've implemented has been a success and learn from it. And if it hasn't, then we know for the future. So it's just trying to learn and deliver the best we can. So we absolutely take that feedback on board.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge the work there. That's been
Feed it
fantastic.
back through this.
Yeah, and that minor safety program in particular, I think, has had quite a significant impact within the communities that I represent. So appreciate that.
Councillor Johansson.
Thank you, and thank you for the report. I've previously asked if we could get information at a high level around the stages of MCR, the major cycleways. And one of the things, there's not much mentioned in here, but I'm trying to understand the process in terms of timing, particularly around the different stages that we go through and where the community or the elected members have an ability to intersect and see what's being proposed. And the reason for asking for that is I see in here we're told on numerous occasions that we're trying to get greater synergy with the work that we're doing. But in terms of the, like if you just go on page 173, use a dig once approach to mitigate any program risk and community disruption, look at sustainable outcomes through collaboration with other agencies and organisations, look at so we have no clashes. But like if you take Pages Road, we potentially have a cycleway going down there, and we've just done a curb and channel renewal as part of the maintenance, where actually the logical place for the cycleway is probably in the same bit of road. So I'm just trying to understand how we can get greater visibility of understanding what the opportunities are to input into areas that seem logical when it's currently not happening. And this was something that just happened like in the last month. This isn't something that goes back 5 years.
Yeah, so we'll get a response.
So
Steve probably can't respond to the MCR question. I should have highlighted at the start. This report is focused on the operational aspects of the role that we're undertaking. So it's largely maintenance, the minor safety stuff where we don't have regular reporting. The MCRs are reported through. We're trying not to double up on the project reporting as such. So they are reported through there. What I can do is ask the MCR team to just pop an advisement note out about the processes. The work on Pages Road that was done recently was maintenance work because of flooding. So Steve can probably talk to that.
So we have no choice in some instances where we have projects, even if they're planned in the next 2 or 3 years. Sometimes we have no choice but to replace curb and channel through safety issues and through flooding issues. And that's where we intercede and we have to step in, knowing that what we're going to spend is going to be sacrificial. But in terms of safety and maintaining the network, we have to do it.
And at the moment, the MCR is not programmed till FY29, and it's not planned to change. So there is.
but we know that there's a high-level route assessment that was done. We know that that's informed some of the Pages Road bridge work that hasn't even started construction. So why can we not look at that for Worcester Street and Pages Road?
So through the chair,
maintenance.
if I can answer for the councillor. We had a safety and flooding issue there. People couldn't access the bus stop when it was flooding. So we had a point at which we had to do it. We still have a huge amount of work to do on the MCR before we can build anything, including all of the
So
consultation.
it couldn't be included in that piece of work on Pages Road. So, and I think you've explained it in the report that you aim to synergise where
We can't
possible
always do it.
Please, can't always do it.
So
Thank you.
Is there an ability though? Because part of the problem is we don't have visibility of the program level. So with the maintenance, like for a lot of curb and channel renewal, we only know about it after they've started work, and it doesn't give the community any chance to engage around, minor safety things like possibly changing.
All right, we'll get a response
design.
from.
So
We'll come back about, as Lynette said, this work is about an operational report. The work around capital planning, capital program is going to continue to be discussions at F&P under the capital program.
Yeah.
and I
So
think
we can address that there.
the problem is that a lot of the
Address
maintenance stuff and the operational stuff that we're doing is sometimes the projects that people come to our LTP or our annual plan and want stuff done. It's not just binary. It's actually quite confusing because we can't get streets prioritised in terms of the LTP or the annual plan because we don't have the program list. But actually sometimes the work is scheduled to happen. And if we knew that, we can talk to the community about it ahead of time to see what the opportunities are to address the concerns.
Okay, so we'll address that.
Yeah.
Address that by
Okay.
email.
And the final question from me is picking up on the 30k speed limit that we've implemented. Have we got, I understand like there's one road in particular in my area, Gloucester Street, which we are looking at reviewing because of the impact. Do we have a time frame for that coming back to us to make any recommendations or look at
So
what's happening?
all speed limit changes are currently on hold until we get the new setting of speed limits rule.
Right, but in Gloucester Street, where I've had a lot of feedback that it's actually created a more dangerous road environment because people are overtaking, speeding, not following the 30k. My understanding was staff are aware of those concerns and are looking at that
That's enforcement.
in terms of monitoring what's
So
happening.
as soon as a new rule comes out, we'll address that as best we can with whatever the rules states we can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know what the rule's going to come out as yet.
Okay, keep us posted. Thank you. Councillor Kewen?
Yeah, just on the survey ones under WaySafe and Network, and I see that they come from our Life in Christchurch transport survey. So 77% of people travel by foot, find it easy, very easy. 69% cycling, 67% bus. Do we ask the same question around cars?
Yes, there
Because
is
that's the majority.
Who was from this
I thought it
council?
was something.
I believe there was, there may not have come through in the stats, but I believe the
just-
question was about how easy or difficult did you find it. They did a lot of point of contact surveys as well to inform the Life in Christchurch questions as well.
Yeah, and then the one that is the standout there is 69% of residents find travel by bike easy and very easy. I mean, that's a number we should be pushing out and celebrating because it's not dangerous. It's easy and very easy, according to 2/3 of the people, which is good.
Okay, Councillor Barber.
Yeah, thank you, team. Great report. Really want to acknowledge the work you've done with potholes because I've certainly noticed that they are being dealt to really quickly across the Burwood ward. Also very pleasantly surprised by the improvements that Councillor Donovan was talking about, Rookwood Bower. That just going through that intersection lately, you know, people are going through a lot slower. I was a bit sceptical, especially with the speed humps out, but yeah, I think that's really working. My question really is around rejuvenation sealing, which is has happened in a couple of streets near me. Has it been a success?
Yeah, absolutely it has. So just to clarify, we've had a couple of different strategies. We have a rejuvenation seal that livens up old binders, and we can use that in asphalt and chip seal. And we've also had a microsurfacing where we lock in the top surface. So it's been such a great success that our contractors were recently identified as exemplars in the field for the Civil Construction Contractors Awards for New Zealand and
Wow.
shortlisted as winners.
That's
So we were
fantastic.
there on the weekend and we're actually presenting all this next month to the Innovations Expo in Dubai.
So that's extending the life of surfaces.
Yeah, significantly.
What is it, by 10, 15 years? Or something
Well,
like that?
it's the rejuvenation is a minimum 5 to 7, but expected to go up to 15, and the microsurfacing is 10 to 15 plus, depending on traffic loading.
Do you just want to explain the difference between microservicing?
Yeah, so when we talk about microsurfacing, you're going to see some other stuff that comes down, but basically it's a top coat. So it's a product we put on the very top of the surface. So if we can intervene on some of these roads at the right time in their life cycle, you know, we can then extend the life of that asset before it starts to fall apart. That's the whole point of what we've been doing to push it all out.
So that would be a massive saving.
Oh, it is. And that's why you see we've reached that 5.48% of this past year because of the different strategies we've been putting in place to extend the amount of work we can do at the right time to intercede.
And really pleasing to see that you have a local Canterbury supplier for rejuvenation sealing, but the microsurfacing is an American company. Is there anybody
It is at the
working on
moment.
that?
It is at the moment, but you're going to see in the next lot of these reports, we've got other stuff coming in from Australia, other stuff being made here in Woolston, but it's just got to meet the requirements of what we need.
Yeah, well, that's a great explanation. It'd be really good if we could get that out there. I know in my area we were a wee bit blindsided by that first rejuvenation sealing. A lot of complaints from residents. They didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I think that's a great story, and I hope we can sort of get that out there.
So going on from that, within the letter drops, we explain what's going in there, and we have links that take you back to Council's website. One of the things that Lynette's challenged us on is improving our communications for the coming year. So what we're doing is filming this work, and we're putting videos onto our webpage so residents can just access that and see what it looks like.
Yeah, well, if you're doing it in my area, let me know any more.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Just send a link out through the board advisors so any community board members can have a look and share the info.
Yep.
That's
We'll do
really,
that.
really brilliant. Councillor Fields.
Through the
Thanks,
chair,
Philip.
can I? Sorry,
yes.
sorry, Councillor Fields.
Yes.
Through the chair, can I just acknowledge something? I would like to actually. Steve raised it with a maintenance team being finalists in the maintenance contractors of the year at the CCNZ Awards, and Steve and Megan were part of that team, and I'd like to acknowledge him for that. Being finalists is a big deal, and he's done a lot of work this year to get these new products up and running and find new ways. It does mean sometimes that things seem a little bit out of order because you've got to get those surfaces on at the right time for the asset. So we're balancing that across the network.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, Lynette, and it's deserved recognition.
Thanks, Councillor Fields.
That's what I was just telling you.
Oh, me.
No, it's Helen.
Your question?
I've got the nod. Oh, good. Well, after we've just applauded them, I was going to heap on some even more praise, really. But look, I mean, first of all, thank you to the team. I mean, you do go above and beyond, particularly around the Inner Harbour and Littleton Harbour, and notably quite recently, just additional work over Dyers Pass Road, particularly in Tim's ward. So not Banks Peninsula, but really have gone above and beyond. I guess my question is, are there things? What are the things that I can encourage the communities around Littleton Harbour to do to work better with your teams in order to sort of get, make sure that that we can sort of work towards shared outcomes, I guess, rather than just this kind of spray of snaps and solves and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, is there any sort of top tips that you might have?
I think the key is in the question you asked, and that's to reduce that spray and to actually get some focus on those community groups. So if there's residents associations, how they then feed up to the community boards, and just enable that communication rather than getting a scattergun approach of comms. The more focused it is, the easier it is for us to then address those concerns.
Thanks, Steve. That's really good advice, because I mean, what I see happening is really similar patterns start to emerge, don't they? You start to see the same kind of things come through, and I suppose it's better just to keep those things focused. So that's really helpful. Thank you, and again, thanks for the work you do, all of you.
So I'll just jump in as well. So one of the other things that can help is when my team come around to the community boards to present what we're planning to do in the coming year, in the coming seasons. Just, it's been I think we've taken some of the community boards by surprise, even though we prepped them for it and give them a month or two's notice. Sometimes they don't always have a lot of input to give us with what residents are asking for. Because then it helps, if you have an answer, it helps us try to focus what we deliver in some areas.
Thank you. Councillor Peters. Oh, Councillor Coker. And then Councillor
This
Peters.
is just another piece of feedback. But the bits about the minor safety intervention and programs, all that stuff, like that is working so well with our board area. And that Hoon Rose Street intersection, like I've seen lots of people just crossing at the pedestrian island. Like those pedestrian islands haven't been there forever. Really valuable. And I just wanted to commend our local transport staff, because they're coming out and talking to the residents. I think it does clarify the comments that we get as councillors or community board members, for then the staff to see that, and it ends up in really great solutions. So I want to thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Peters. It better be a good one. Don't bring us down now.
Thank you. Picked up on the Shands Road cycle lanes in that report there, and I think that was a really great example of your team working really well. Thanks to Steve and the crew for that resurfacing down Shands Road. It made our community out there smile and feel loved. And then to see the forward thinking of getting those cycle lanes on there is remarkable. I thought that was exceptional, so good work. Thinking going forward, Amy's Road is always a point in mind.
Here.
Yep. And we that's this coming season, I think. And
It depends on funding. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Right, and I guess the one question is, are you able to enlighten the community as to the process leading in towards that, regarding testing and making sure of surface strength before chucking more seal over the top of it?
Yep. I mean, one part in here you might have seen is where we talk about a thing called MSD, so it's multi-speed deflectometer. So we're probably the first council leading the way, even across the agency, where we've had a truck drive every sealed road around Christchurch and the peninsula, and it gives us quite a lot of information. It tells us not only where we have any weak spots in the pavement, but what depth those weak spots are, because then it can then inform what our strategies, our intervention strategies are going forward and what our funding requirements are. So that's what we're analysing specifically on AMIs.
Excellent. So it sounds like it's good preparation work ahead of it.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Oh, exactly. They're a great team.
Yeah, they are.
Just thinking about particularly my area with state highways being a massive interaction in and around the Hornby area. I gather you work strategically and well with the likes of Waka Kotahi and then also with Kiwi Rail, because we've got those as well.
Yep.
Is there any way we can start to, I guess, get some more traction with some of the intersection requirements is the big one around the Hornby area, onto State Highway 1 with right turns and safety improvements onto those intersections?
We probably need to know which specific ones you're looking for, because we work with Kiwi Rail, or we've been working with Kiwi Rail on their next 3 years worth of renewals. And we work with the agency all the time, and we've also taken over a number of the state highway roads revocated back to council that we're planning to do something on, if not this season, next season.
Okay. I think it sounds like you're making pretty good progress with Kiwi Rail. So look, that's the end of the questions. I'm happy to move this report. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Scandrett. Is there any discussion? I think, look, we've all heaped praises on you, both for the report and for the work that you're doing. And I mean, we've all noticed there's a heck of a lot of work going on around our streets at the moment. There's a lot of work going on, so the program seems to be running well. And thank you for all you do. Congratulations again, Steve, and your team for what you've achieved.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll break for morning tea.